Hey, Stacy. Hey, Brooke. I'm going to give it a couple minutes before I get started to give some people time to sign on. Hey, Danielle. I hope Kylie's there too. Hey, Kelly. I saw that you texted me and I will get right back to you. I was already away from my computer. What's up, Miss Strosser? Hey, Steph. Hey, Em. All right, I had no idea anybody would even watch. I was like, oh, there probably won't be anybody on there. All right, so I have to tell you that I woke up this morning and I think that the only people enjoying this weather right now are ducks. And that's a little clue for my friends from Smyrna Elementary. All right, so while I know that you all are really enjoying looking at this printer, I guess I'm going to get started. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Staci Lewis. I'm the technology teacher at Smyrna Elementary School, and I have a little business and I use that money to add things to my classroom. And the thing I chose this year was 3D printing. I did a lot of research before I started it because I didn't want to just pump more plastic into the world. So I told my kids that there were some real world applications. It's kind of hard with the little kiddos, K through 3, to have them understand that you can't, or you don't just print toys with it, because that's basically what we started with. The printer I started with was a Toy Box, was the brand, and it was tiny. I'll put a link in there later. But it just wasn't quite powerful enough for 400 and almost 50 kids. So I decided to send that one back. It wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do or what I thought it should be doing. And I ended up getting an Ender 3 Pro, which is the one that you see here. This is made by Creality. I had actually had 2 of them in the classroom, and then with the virus, I got really bored at home, so I actually now am up to 5. So when we go back to school, we will have one for each grade level, and then an extra one, so the kids will be able to pick things that are a little bit more intricate, a little bit more involved to print. The little kiddos usually end up writing something or drawing something with their finger on the iPad. We use Tinkercad with the older grades, but sometimes it's a little bit much for them to get into with that. So what I'm going to start with is telling you about the actual hardware for the printer, what the pieces are. We'll start at the bottom and then go to the top. I'll apologize now that I'm going to have to move my phone and it gets a little wiggly. I will try to answer comments as people make them. If not, I will go back after my live is loaded and answer them for you. So if you look at the printer, this actually comes in a box and it's not together. So my husband put 4 of them together for me because he's more mechanical. But then I did the last one, and I'll say this because he's not on Facebook. Mine works better than the 4 that he put back together. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Ellie. So what we're going to do is talk about the parts. The black parts are the frame. They're made out of aluminum. Inside here is the motherboard, which is the brain of the printer. And the motherboard is this right here that's inside. I'm really impressed with myself. Hey, Cassie. That I have actually replaced. This is not the board that comes with the printer. This one is an updated, so it's going to be just regurgitation. It's a 32-bit instead of an 8-bit board, which gives me more capabilities, I think, when it comes to like designing stuff, but I don't know if or printing stuff I've designed, but I'm not there yet. And it's made by Big Tree Tech. I had some problems with a couple of them, but I sent them back and they replaced them, so that's been pretty cool. The plug that's right here, sorry, there's really a delay, so I might get ahead of myself. The plug that's right here is connected to a Raspberry Pi, which is kind of like another little mini computer or a motherboard that I'm probably not using the right terminology, so my tech friends will have to correct me. But this allows me to print from my laptop wirelessly to the printer, because there's no way to do that unless you hook this up. So I had to get this and sync that up, and like I said, I was kind of proud of myself for that. It also lets me go in and change the codes that tell the computer where to go and how much plastic, how much filament to put down. And I can show you that a little bit later. Maybe I can post some screenshots of that from my computer. If you don't use this, you don't have to use the Raspberry Pi with a program called Octoprint to do that. You can use just the SD card. It's a micro SD card that's right here. I'm gonna release that. And then you just push it to bring it out. Just a little itty bitty card. It comes with the printer. That's what you save your files on to tell the printer what to do. This is the bed of the printer. I have replaced it with a piece of glass that I had cut down at Home Depot, because the mirror is perfectly level. If it wasn't, it'd be like a funhouse mirror. So they come with a magnetic board that I can show you. But the magnetic boards, or sorry, the base for the magnetic board. So this is magnetic on one of the other printers that goes on here, and that's the build surface. So this is the bed. The thing that goes on top of it is the build surface. So I've replaced mine with a piece of glass. I use little picture clips to hold it on, because some people use binder clips, but that takes up some of your printing area. So I got these. Again, big Amazon shopper. They're probably ready to choke me because I want to send back so much stuff if it's not right. But no, actually, they've been great. So when you print on a 3D printer, if your kids play Minecraft, when we talk about a coordinate grid, or if you have older kiddos that are doing that in math, the X, Y, and Z, that's what a 3D printer does. So when you look at the ones that are printing, when we go over there, going this way is the X axis, left to right, back and forth is the Y axis, and the Z axis is how tall it is. So this printer is way up because I was messing with the nozzle, and I wanted to show you the hot end that melts the filament. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that now, and I think I'm gonna try to move the camera closer so you can see. All right. Ooh. All right, so this is the hot end. The filament is up here, so I'll show you that in a little bit, but the filament comes down and it goes through what's called an extruder. So it's got two gears that kind of squeeze that filament and bring it into where it heats it up. But we'll go over this part first, as soon as I get my wrench. I don't have the right size. All right, I'm gonna grab that, but this is the fan, keeps the hot end cool, but still lets the filament heat up. And then over here is a smaller fan that's not on all the time that cools the print, because when the plastic melts and comes out, it has to be cool by the time the nozzle comes back around so that it can lay more plastic down to make the next layer. Give me 1 second. Okay, so oh, you know what? I don't even have to take this off. Here is an extra hot end, which is the part that melts the filament. This block, this aluminum block, heats up anywhere between 200 and 230 degrees Celsius. Hey Jess, hey Sharon. And that's what melts the filament. This is the nozzle. It's a 0.4 millimeter size nozzle that where the filament squishes out and lays down in the different patterns. This is the heat block, which doesn't get, it gets warm, but not too warm to touch it. So there's a tube inside there. This is the Bowden tube that the filament goes inside of. The coupler seats it down there because it has to be tight. If not, you would just have a big blob of filament there if it wasn't seated right. And yeah, don't ask me how I know that. These wires are the thermistor, which tells the printer what the temperature of the bed and the end are. Those are really important not to damage those wires. And then this is the actual heater core. This little tube is the part that gets really hot and then makes the aluminum block hot enough to melt the filament. There's a silicone sock that goes over it that keeps that heat in there where it belongs. And if you touch that, you'll burn your finger badly. So let me adjust this a little bit more. You can see I have a roll of filament here. This is a pink filament because all the kids at school, well, a lot of the kids at school wanted pink. Not my favorite pink. I have another one for when we go back. But I'm going to show you on the other printers how to change this and what it goes through. But I'm going to have to take my phone off the stand for that one. So I think that might be all the parts that I wanted to show you. There are different motors that move the X, Y, and Z axis. They're called stepper motors because they call it steps that they go to move around the bed. I'm going to show you how to level a bed because it's really important that the bed be level. Your prints won't work if it's not. And I thought I was kind of smart and said, well, why don't these people just use a level? So I would put this on, and my husband said the same thing. He's like, well, why don't they just use a level? Here's the deal. This has to be level to this bar. It's called the X gantry, but I'll just call it the extruder. It has to be level with this. It doesn't matter that the printer is level on the table, and this is just showing you that it's level to the table. So I've done all kinds of stuff, like I actually have to take this one apart because I measured the two sides of this bar and they're off by more than a centimeter. So I have to get them even or my prints will be a hot mess. And I've made a whole bunch of hot mess prints. So while I'm going over there, do you guys have, hey Amy, do you guys have questions about the printer? Oh, we connected. Do you guys have questions? If you do, just ask. But now I'm going to show you the fun part. Sorry you were looking at me for a while. All right, here's one of the other printers. This printer, it's the same kind, an Ender 3 Pro. This one has red filament on it, and it also has the glass bed, and these are the ear savers. I've printed 1,500 of these so far, and probably will be at 4,000 by the time I'm finished. So these are for anybody that's wearing masks. to save your ears from getting raw from the elastic. So that's kind of what I've been spending my time on. This printer, again, and I'm sorry, my connection's not the best. This is the printer actually working with a blue, kind of a purpley blue silk filament. If you look at the display, the hot end is 220 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And the bed is 50 degrees to make it adhere. If you look, the X, Y, and the Z are changing when the extruder moves, and it's showing you where it is on the board. It's going at 100% right now. It's been working for 1 hour and 35 minutes, and it's 36% done. These take about 4 hours, and then I just change it and I start the print all over again. Hopefully this will stay. Trying to reconnect, my internet's not always the best. This is the extruder. So the filament comes in through this hole. It squishes between these two gears and it pushes it through this tube down into the hot end. It melts it and then it pushes it out the end. I know it's really hard to see, but there's a tiny brass nozzle under there. So that's what does that. And you can see the bed moving. This way, remember, is the Y, this way is the X. So you can see it moving. You really can't see it moving up and down much. Well, the bed won't move, the bar moving up and down much because they're such small layers. And finally, here is my printer that I'm going to show you how to change the filament on, because you can't do it while it's cold. You have to do it while it's hot. So I'm going to heat this up. Come on, focus. We're going to go to prepare. We're going to go to preheat. And we're going to preheat the PLA end. While we're waiting for that to heat up, PLA is cornstarch and sugar. So when I said that this was one of the things that I did research on before starting 3D printing, the plastic that I use is biodegradable. There's some discussion about whether it's biodegradable at home or if it has to be commercial, but I'm talking to Ecoplastics up in Newport, I think, about currently take this plastic. If not, then I'm just going to compost it. That's my box of scraps. This is one of my favorite filaments, Esun, and you see it comes air sealed or airtight, and it's got desiccant in it, because if moisture gets into it, it will pop and crackle and it won't print. So we're going to open this up. Sorry guys, I hate having this in my hand. I'm going to have to move that up. I filament, because you know it's a Smyrna thing. This and take it over there. Oh, now I'm hitting lights and all kinds of stuff. All right, so the end heated up that fast. So what I'm going to do is I have to squeeze oh shoot, sorry guys, I have to squeeze the extruder to release the gears and then pull the filament out. Sometimes it wants to give you a hard time, so let's try this way. We can move it backwards. See if it can help us pull it out. So now it's not going to pull it out. It might not be hot enough. This filament takes a little bit of a higher temperature. So I'm going to knock that up a little bit. See if that helps. If not, you can unscrew this, the tube. Sorry, I'm not very patient. I should probably wait for that to finish. Now I'm going to try again. Nope. So now I'm going to cut it. Still have to get it out of here. It's not wanting to move. This bar moves the Z-axis up and down. That's how it's controlled. It's really dusty from the PLA, sorry. It's not that I don't take care of them. So now I'm going to try again. Not wanting to come out. Sorry, I know this is like tedious. Alright, well I was going to show you how to do this, but I guess now I'm not. Oh, maybe. Alright, so if you look at the end, you can see that. That was probably the problem, that it was not, I didn't let it get hot enough, and I tried to pull it, which stretched this out. But now we can change it. The spool of red. This is the first time I'm trying this color, but I think it looks pretty cool because the other reds are kind of orangey to me. This one's called Fire Engine Red. Good gracious. I never have, oh, it's taped twice. I do have some rainbow filaments that I've used. You don't see the change in them unless you print something kind of big. So it wasn't really working for school, but hopefully with so many more printers, we'll be able to use that this year. When you change the filament, it's important not to let the end of it go because it can get a little crazy if it unwinds and get tangled and then break while you're trying to print something. Squeeze that. I cut it on an angle, but I think my angle was a little bit off. Come on, here we go. Now I have to screw the coupler back on so that it doesn't kind of go all crazy while I'm doing my print. Squeeze it. You can push the filament through until you feel it stop. This tube is white, so I can see the dark filaments go through, but you can't always do that. And now I'm going to tell it to print. And start the next set of mask straps that I have to do. So it's moving it down to auto home it, which is kind of like the zero of all the things. It's not really zero, but it's the beginning. I went down and I said to print, and it's going to heat the bed up. The extruder is already plenty hot. And then it will start. Sorry, you guys are getting some really good looks at my face. There we go. So the heat on the bed is going up little at a time. The fan is running on the front and on the side. It's going to run what's called a purge line down the left side, just to kind of get the filament started, especially when you change it or switch colors. It'll let you know what to do if you have to adjust it. This is my one printer that I have dialed in pretty well, and it doesn't give me any trouble. Now that I said that, it's going to mess this print up, but all right, so we're almost there. Just so you can see what I did. Oh, screen. I went to print. I can't do it now, but this is all the different things that you can do. Get up to 220 because this particular filament runs a little bit hotter, but I'll probably knock that down some. So I can come over and do tune, and I'm going to take it down to like 210. It's doing the purge line. I had black filament in here before, so but the red should be coming out pretty soon. It's really hard to see on here, but you can see the beginning of the strap where the words are. This is like stuck down. That's what you want. It'll do the first layer of all of them, then come back and do the second layer of all of them, so it prints them level. Like it doesn't print all of one and then all of another. You can change it to that, but I don't know, I think that the nozzle would probably run into stuff if we did that. So that's the start of the mask straps. Kind of the same way everything works, with the purge line and preheating and stuff like that. You'll see these all say DE, Delaware Strong. I put this in a group and they thought I misspelled it. They thought it was supposed to be B Strong, but I told them that it was spelled right. That's not looking perfectly flat, so I'll probably tweak the temperature a little bit, but I don't want to make you guys stay on here because I feel like I've tortured you enough. If you want to answer them, you can go ahead and post them in the group. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you soon. I will, I guess, talk to you later. Bye, guys.